This man pretended to be a count, married a Japanese noble lady. After cheating a huge amount of property, greedy, he began to covet the beauty of the other party, and finally fell into the trap and fell into the hands of the perverted old man. Today I am ready to bring you the Korean movie, The Handmaiden. The main character Seo is a Japanese noble lady. With a head of black hair, a high nose, and a polished white face, she is exceptionally beautiful and has inherited a huge inheritance at a young age. Her mother died in childbirth, and she followed her aunt to the Japanese colony of Korea from a young age. After her aunt went mad and committed suicide, her guardian became her aunt's husband, Min. Min is a Korean who married Seo's aunt to improve her status. Since becoming Seo's guardian, he has been training Seo to read aloud various erotic books on a daily basis. Once Seo refused, he threatened that Seo had the gene of insanity in his body and would be sent to a mental institution. In fact, he wanted to use Seo to satisfy his fetish of listening to erotic readings. He treats Seo as a forbidden property, waiting for Seo to grow up and get married so that he can further appropriate her property. In the large study, Seo reads erotic texts with great emotion. In front of her sat a group of courteous gentlemen, dressed in fine gowns, but writhing their bodies in response to Seo's slight moans. Min made a lot of money auctioning off his erotic books in this way. Another important character, Yuan, who is the son of a North Korean farmer, mixes with the auction bureau by pretending to be a count. He had planned to seduce Seo with his body and then cheat him out of a huge fortune. But after meeting Seo, he realizes that Seo is a shrewd man and will not be easily fooled, so he changes his mind to make a deal with Seo. Seo gives him half of his fortune and he sets up a trap to get Seo back to Japan and free from Min's control. Seo grew up in Min's perverted domination and has long wanted to leave, so she agrees to the deal. Yuan finds Seo a new maid, Ji. Ji lost her parents at an early age and was raised by thieves. She is an important part of Yuan and Seo's plan. Min's power is so great that even if they escape to Japan, they will still be found. And Ji is the scapegoat they find. When we get to Japan, Ji will take Seo's place and be taken into a mental hospital. If Min learns that Seo is crazy, he will naturally stop looking for him. When he hired Ji, Yuan had a different face. He asked Ji to cooperate with him to make Seo fall in love with him. When the property is embezzled, he will send Seo to a mental hospital, and then share part of the property with Ji. The three of them appear to be in harmony, but in reality, they all have bad intentions and want to trap each other. Seo thinks that Ji is naive, stupid and illiterate, which fits her criteria for a scapegoat. She disguises herself as an ignorant girl who does not know anything about love so that Ji can let down her guard. Ji does not forget the purpose of approaching Seo and intentionally creates opportunities for Yuan to spend time alone with Seo. The plan goes well and soon Seo falls in love with Yuan. The three of them eloped to Japan on the day when Min went to inspect the gold mine. Yuan married Seo as he wished and started to inherit property one after another. Afterwards, Yuan sent Ji to a madhouse. Ji let out hysterical cries as she was forcibly dragged into the asylum. Later, Yuan actually fell in love with Seo and wanted to turn the fake marriage into real. Seo was indifferent and always ignored Yuan's request. Late at night, Seo drugged the glass of wine and then brought it to Yuan's room. Yuan took the glass of wine, but just wouldn't drink it. Seo took the wine in his mouth and made Yuan drink it by kissing him. The next day, Yuan woke up with two Japanese samurai sitting in front of him, and he was arrested and sent back to Min's house. Min was so angry about this betrayal that, in revenge, he tied Yuan to a chair and used a torture device to cut off Yuan's fingers one by one. He loves erotic stories, so he threatens Yuan to tell him about his life in bed with Seo. Yuan had Min light a cigarette for him before he started to tell. In his description, that night, he and Seo were both crazy. But in reality, Seo refused to sleep together by dying. The secret room was filled with the smoke exhaled by Yuan. In a short while, Ming and Yuan fell down one after another. It turned out that Yuan's smoke was poisonous. On the other side of Japan, Ji made a fire and escaped from the asylum to meet up with Xiu. It turns out that it was all their plan and Yuan and Ming were the losers. Ji accepts Yuan's commission to get close to Xiu. Although she joins the plan, she falls in love with Xiu during the time they spend together. Xiu desires freedom and agrees to a deal with Yuan. But whenever Yuan touches her, she has an instinctive feeling of disgust. In contrast, she actually prefers to be with Ji. She thought of committing suicide to get rid of the unpleasantness of her life, and it was Ji who saved her. Ji confesses that Yuan is not a count, but a con man who wants to cheat her out of her marriage and property and will send Soo to a mental hospital when he succeeds. Xiu also told the truth, saying that Ji was the one she and Yuan found to be the scapegoat. Both women can't let go of their true love for each other, so they join forces against Yuan and Ming. The night before they elope to Japan, Xiu reveals that she reads erotic texts in front of men. Ji thought Xiu was an enviable noble lady, but she didn't know she was a slave to a pervert. In a fit of anger, she leads Xiu to destroy all the erotic books in Ming's study. At the end of the story, Ji and Xiu take the ferry to Shanghai and live happily ever after.